pause there at that point, because it's a good, we've got to basically an end point, because that's where they're still back at the same question, aren't we? What are the things to do?
If, for example, I think that everybody, what Lisa's saying is that everybody should be carbon aware, to say,
Yep.
let's try and make the planet good for 12 billion and let this place be a place for abundance. What that's doing is actually making you as a human feel that you're doing the right thing. The truth of it is we've lost the war. We're just doing things that make you feel good. And the truth of it is as well is that the human race and we are survivors. We are nomads. I think an excellent point is we shouldn't actually own land. We should be nomads, because we would, if we had a mindset that we're going to go where the food is, we would actually move.
Yeah.
You know, okay, this is the story of move. And the truth
not where it will be.
Those that have the ability to move with airplanes or with technology or whatever, which needs fuel, by the way, and coal, is maybe the solution is to say, listen, let's just go with the flow and live a good life and have coal fires and burn the coal and do what you have to do, and just, if you want your family to survive, be as strong as possible, because there's only going to be 500 million in, and like beat the planet.
But there is some tiny part of me. So that was the part of me that just says I should give up, to stay, live in Hawaii forever, and just like hang out and enjoy life until it. But there's part of me that's the Silicon Valley innovator that says, what if there are these technologies to pull the carbon out of the air, and lots of people, there's, and now there's all kinds of funding, and there's Frontier, and there's carbon credits, and there's all kinds of people looking at how do we get that stuff out of the air. You can't see it, but we can measure it. We know it's there. What are all the different ways to pull it down and put it where it'll stay somewhere? That's like a task of humanity. And not everybody can do that, but there are a lot of people that could do that. And why don't you get all the people that have any possibility of being able to get that carbon out of there and do it, put it into biochar, put it into old abandoned wells, put it into plants, and for whatever you can do. And so that's that little tiny percent of me that says, but what if it would be possible? And we are in exactly the position. We are the people that would be the ones to either do that or motivate the people to do it or help clarify their thinking, that it's us. So it's not somebody else. That's what we do for a living. So it does a little bit of possibility is what keeps me wanting to do what we're doing, to see how can we help people get that carbon out of there as fast as possible in case there's a chance. But I hope that other people build the villages and the things you're talking about to adapt, like let other people work on the adaptation scenario. Because I think we need to
I love your, Lisa, I love your idea. I love your idea of where we can make a difference. Is the events that we had, the ability to have think tanks. If we can actually get people, if we can actually get, let's say on a regular basis, 50 or 60 or 70 people, 50, 60, 70 people to every month, and go to those think tanks and actually get the right people around, and then get those things published and videoed with ideas that will come from there, that those ideas can then be implemented. That's where this group can make a difference, because we have that technology. We saw that it worked. It just takes energy, time, and money to do that, and not a hell of a lot of money. So the question is like, I'm just thinking of an actual thing for this group is, I mean, if we had $3,000 a month, I could get the relevant people involved where we can actually make sure that we could get like the armies of the world to get 30, 40, 50 people to the events. We could host the event, and we could make this happen, and we could do it physical, and we could have, like the Lisbon event or whatever. We could have a major event that could be funded by a government, and you're talking about pennies to actually make this happen, and yet we can't do it.
Yeah.
I have an idea for prep for our own thinking about it, which is there's two groups I know of that are like, they're categorizing what are the 7 or 8 key industries that have been out. And so I think just to do some homework for ourselves, one group is airminers.org. And they're all about how do you, instead of going into the earth to get the fossil fuels and then use them, how to get them out of the air. What's this carbon? Herman and I have been talking about having carbon brain. You start to see carbon and all the uses of what it's used in and all the different forms of it. How do we get it out of the air and putting it into things that we can use, or where it'll stay, or maybe where it replaces that were like the sustainable airplane fuel. It might ultimately take methane and it goes back as CO2 into the air, but it keeps you from using fossil fuels to fly the airplanes. So it's still better, but it's not the ultimate solution. But other things are, like the biochar that sequesters it for hundreds of years in the soil and creates more fertile soil and bigger plants, which draw down more carbon. So how to be thinking about, so air miners is really helpful, and maybe to look at what are their, I don't remember if it's 8 or 9 different categories, and it's all online learning, and they have collected articles that are like easy for beginners, medium, and then in-depth, and you can choose how much you want to learn or how long you want the article to be. And then the other one is GcAF, and they basically do the same thing. They pick it industry by industry. What can transportation do? What can buildings do? What can cities do?
Yeah.
What's it called? GcAF.
What's that? So it's GcAF.
How do you spell?
Eco, act as in acting, and us as in you and me.
Eco. I thought you said ego.
And it's the Harvard alumni climate action or something like that. And they also have a course. And we've been talking with them. We know the people who are putting that together. We know the people from Air Miners too, because they're not very far away from us. Like they're about halfway to Silk to so we get to see what are the different industries that are all about getting the carbon out of the air and putting it somewhere where it's going to stay there. And, it's just too bad you can't see it, right? We can't, if it looked like terrible pollution, we would have done it a long time ago because we wouldn't like it, but it's clear. That's our big